Part 17. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 161. Chapter 161 Complete Detoxification. Yan Xianglou picked up the jade bottle without opening it. She just bumped the weight with her hand and knew that the bottle was almost full. He had snatched back half of the bowl of spiritual spring. It was indeed amazing. Except for refining the detoxification pill for me, I'll give you the rest. Although Xuanhuan also wanted to give some to his right-hand man, he didn't know how much he would use. Moreover, Yu Xianglou failed to advance after entering the secret realm. He suspected that there was something wrong with her cultivation method and wanted to use more. It would be best if the spiritual spring and 9-leaf clover could help her. So generous? You can't use so many spiritual springs to cure his fetal poison. If you only have one, you will need 10 drops of spiritual spring or 2 pieces of 9-leaf clover. If you have both, 5 drops of spiritual spring and 1 piece of 9-leaf clover will be enough. Of course, you can use both. Better results. In this way, what is left is a piece of 9-leaf clover and a large bottle of spiritual spring. After all, 5 drops are not much. I'll ask you to bring out the other medicinal materials you prepared, and I'll refine the antidote pill for you now, Yan Xianglou said. Although the 9-leaf clover is stored in a cold jade box and can be stored for a longer period of time, the earlier it is used, the better the effect. Xuanhuan handed her a kinkin bag. It's all in there, let's see how much you use. Yan Xianglou reached in with his spiritual consciousness, took out all the needed medicinal materials and quantities, and then returned the kinkin bag to him. These are enough. Xuanhuan didn't answer. Normally I don't need the medicinal materials, so I'll keep the rest for you. Yan Xianglou glanced at him. There were a lot of precious medicinal materials here. Did he give them all to her so generously? Place the kinkin bag next to the cold jade box, and then take out the Shuo pill furnace. She cannot refine such a precious elixir with a pill furnace bought for 10 low-grade spiritual stones. As soon as the stone nest appeared, a dark light flashed in Xuanhuan's eyes. This was the precious pill furnace dug out when the Xuanhuan sect was founded. At that time, a disciple of the Xuanhuan sect reported that it had been obtained by Ruan Xianglou. It's also the first time I've seen it. Although it looked ordinary, he could sense the rich ancient charm on it as soon as she took it out. This alchemy furnace was indeed extraordinary. Xuanhuan winked, and the 3 of them all moved aside to make room for Ruan Xianglou to refine the elixir. General alchemists are not allowed to have other people present when refining alchemy. After all, refining requires concentration and cannot be disturbed. Another issue is safety. Who knows who can be trusted? Yan Xianglou glanced at them, then mobilized her firepower to start making pills. She researched the recipe for the detoxification pill based on Xuanhuan's physical condition. It is different from the ordinary detoxification pill, but the refining technique is the same. She first threw a piece of 9-leaf clover in and started refining it. The 9-leaf clover was quickly refined into juice, and she wrapped it with spiritual power and put it aside in the stone nest. Yan Xianglou then threw in the other medicinal materials one by one. After each medicinal material was refined into juice, it was put together with the juice of the 9-leaf clover. After all the medicinal materials were refined into juice, she began to mix the juices together and then began to purify them. Purification took a long time, but it was the most critical step in determining the quality of the elixir. After purification, it begins to condense. Seeing the juice getting thicker and thicker, Xian, who had been watching her closely while refining the elixir, was a little confused. Could it be enough to just use the 9-leaf clover? There was no way. He couldn't see the situation in the elixir furnace from where he was standing, so he could only rely on guessing. He didn't know why Yan Xianglou put so many medicinal materials into an antidote elixir. But he also knew that Yan Xianglou would not do useless work, let alone use it to show her superb alchemy skills, it must be useful. Just when the juice had become like condensed milk, Xianxia wrapped the jade bottle with spiritual power, opened it, poured 5 drops of spiritual spring into it, then capped the jade bottle and put it back. This time, it began to condense the elixir. As the spirit spring was put into the alchemy furnace, the condensed milk in the alchemy furnace became more and more viscous, and soon became a lump. It turned around and around in the alchemy furnace, becoming more and more solid. When it formed a spherical shape, the color began to change. The color of the pill, which was originally a little brown, slowly began to fade, and finally turned into a white pill, with the fragrance of the pill filling the air. Smelling the alluring fragrance of elixirs, Xian looked at it eagerly. The fragrance of elixirs came out, and it was about to become elixirs. Xianxia continued to condense the elixir. After seeing golden lines appearing on the elixir, she raised her hand, and a bright white elixir with golden lines rose up from the elixir furnace. Perfect quality detoxifying pill. Changfeng and Xian both opened their eyes in surprise. Is it true that every time Xianxia makes alchemy, the quality is perfect? Xianxia waved her hand, and the pill flew towards Zhizhong. Open your mouth, don't take it with your hands, just take it. Zhizhong's raised hand took it back after hearing her words. He opened his mouth and accurately caught the detoxification pill without swallowing it. The pill melted in his mouth and slid down his throat. A heat spread out in his body, driving away the coldness in his body. Only he knew that this coldness had been with him since he was a child and was caused by fetal poison. Now, the elixir expels the cold air from the body, which is detoxifying. The cold air disappears and the poison is resolved. Xian and Changfeng stared closely at Zhizhong. They started following their master when they were about 10 years old. Over the years, they knew all too well what the master would suffer when he was poisoned. They also knew very well how much his master wanted to cure the fetal poison. Zhizhong looked calm on the surface, but he was actually very excited in his heart. Because of the fetal poison, he had never had a healthy body, and he didn't even know what it felt like to have a warm body. Therefore, he is not interested in anything. He has tried his best to live with one belief since he was a child. His life will be gone before he knows when, and nothing naturally attracts him. It's different now. The fetal poison is about to be resolved. He can finally have a normal body and pursue what he wants like a normal person. Just when the warm breath enveloped the inside and outside of his body, Zhizhong's expression changed. He only said, "Don't follow me," and rushed out of the cave. Changfeng and Xian were stunned. What happened to the master? He still refused to let them follow. Should they follow or not? Thinking that there was Jin Yutang outside, the two of them looked at each other but did not follow him. Turning to look at Xianxia, they saw that she was refining an elixir again. This time she was using different medicinal materials. They knew that what she was refining this time was not an antidote elixir. Xianxia naturally knew why Zhizhong left in such a hurry. Fetal poison has followed him since he was born. Detoxification is so simple. There is a lot of poisonous residue in the body. After detoxification, it needs an excretion process. No matter how powerful the detoxification pill is, it cannot directly eliminate all the poison in his body. So he should be looking for a place to vent his poison. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 162. Chapter 162. His concern. Xian was still watching Xianxia refining the elixir closely. He knew very well how much spiritual energy he consumed, how tired he was, and how nervous he was when refining the elixir. However, even if it was the first time for Xianxia to refine the antidote to her master's poison, she was very calm and calm. Moreover, after refining the antidote, she could continue to refine the elixir. She was obviously only at the 9th level of the spiritual level, so her elixir refining speed was only about 10%. That's all. How can you continue to refine elixirs? What's strange is that she still looks very relaxed when refining the elixir for the second time. How many times can she refining the elixir in a row? It didn't take long for Xuanhuan to come back, but the clothes he wore when he went out and when he came back were different. Although they looked like snow-white brocade robes embroidered with silver dark patterns, Xian and Changfeng could tell. The master has changed his clothes. But what the two of them care more about is his complexion. Due to fetal poison, their master's skin has been very white since he was a child, and there is almost no blood. But now Xuanhuang's skin is rosy and white, which looks like a healthy white. The two of them know that their master's fetal poison has really been cured. Back in the cave, for the first time in his life, Xuanhuang, who felt so comfortable and light, looked at Xianxia with extremely gentle eyes. This little person has a powerful attraction in his body, which makes him fall in love with her every time he sees her. Unknowingly, his heart is filled with her. Seeing that Xianxia was still refining elixirs, Xuanhuang didn't say anything and stood quietly waiting. When the incense falls and is about to become an elixir, add 10 drops of spiritual spring water. Xian felt a little distressed when he saw Xianxia using the spiritual spring water for free. There seemed to be a lot of spiritual spring water, but it was not forbidden. Why not save it for critical times? At this moment, the elixir refined by Xianxia came out, and 3 round, white elixirs with golden lines floated up. This time, 3 pills were actually produced, and they were all of perfect quality. Xianxia caught the 3 elixirs in jade bottles, packed them up, sealed them, and threw them to Xuanhuang. This is a magic elixir. It can improve the quality of the spiritual roots and improve their cultivation talents. The one given to the 3 of them is the best. The effect is better if you take it when you are about to advance. This unexpected surprise immediately made Changfeng and Xian's minds buzz. The magic pill, the legendary magic pill, just appeared. The most important thing is that it was given to them. They all thought that the spiritual spring water and the 9-leaf clover were not their share. Unexpectedly, Xianxia was willing to use 10 drops of spiritual spring water and so many precious medicinal materials to refine the elixir for them. After the surprise, the two realized that Xianxia said it was for the 3 of them, that is, the 2 of them and Jin Yutang. Why didn't the master have it? Xian thought for a while and then asked, is this elixir useful to our master? If it is useful, he can give his own to his master. After all, he mainly focuses on alchemy, and his cultivation level does not fall too far behind. The master forced them to have a better life, but he knew very well that none of the old guys in the clan were fuel efficient. His talent does not require taking magic pill. Xianxia's words were very straightforward. Changfeng and Xian suddenly felt as if their hearts had been shot by 10,000 arrows. This was outright disdain for their poor talents. However, when I think about my master's talent, he does not need the magical transformation pill. He was born with fetal poison and he has been able to cultivate to such an extent. Now that the poison has been removed, he still needs the magical transformation pill to change his talent. I am afraid that the talent that was previously suppressed by the fetal poison has been released. I can only become more evil in the future. Xianxia actually wanted to refine an elixir for herself, and wanted to see if she could break through the 2nd level of Pangu flower blooming. However, the current environment was not suitable for her to break through and advance. She wanted to wait until she separated from Xuanhuang and the others. Enter the space to advance with confidence. Looking at the remaining 9-leaf clover leaf and most of the half bottle of spiritual spring, he put them away without politeness, including the cold jade box. Seeing that she was no longer refining elixirs, Xuanhuang frowned slightly and said, "Are you encountering problems in your practice? Can't the spiritual spring and 9-leaf grass help you?" Yan Xianglou looked up at him, just in time to see his eyes. She was a little surprised that he actually cared about her. But he didn't think much about it. After all, he had helped him a lot, which was equivalent to saving his life. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to wait until he got the spiritual spring and 9-leaf clover to detoxify. I did encounter a problem. The technique I practice has 3 levels. The first level passed 3 years ago, and I entered the second level 1 year ago. I don't know if Xuanhuan and 9-leaf grass can help me, but the time has not come yet. I still need to wait, Yan Xianglou explained. You are practicing ancient skills. Xuanhuan's words were affirmative, because only ancient skills have checkpoint settings. This is also the reason why monks love and hate ancient techniques. If you don't have good talent, you may not be able to pass the first level in your life, but once you pass all the levels, you will definitely be a peerless strongman, no matter what level of continent you are on. Yes, Yan Xianglou didn't hide it, because she knew that Xuanhuan also practiced ancient techniques, otherwise he would never be able to survive due to the poison he brought from the womb. If you need anything, tell me, and I will help you find it, Xuanhuan blurted out, and then added, Miss Yu has done much more for me than I paid for it. This also explains that he wanted to repay her for saving his life. He didn't want to scare the little girl away directly, so he naturally had to find a reason to continue to contact her. Okay, I won't be polite to you if you need it. Yan Xianglou didn't refuse, and she couldn't guarantee that she would never beg Xuanhuan again. At this time, Jin Yutang ran down from above and said, Miss Yu, your master is looking for you. Yan Xianglou thought that before she came out of the secret realm of Xuanhuan, the life-saving jade tablets given by her master and her father were all broken. Master naturally sensed it and understood that he came here because he was worried about her. She said to Xuanhuan, goodbye. The deal between them is over, there is no need to stay any longer. Xuanhuan felt a little panicked when he saw her leaving so neatly. He knew clearly that she really didn't have him in her heart. Xian and Changfeng looked at each other, feeling a little pity for their master. The master was obviously attracted, but the girl didn't seem to be interested in him at all. The master's road to pursuing his wife was difficult and dangerous. Xuanhuan took a deep breath and followed Yan Xianglou out of the cave. As soon as she left the cave, Yan Xianglou heard the voice of her master calling her name, with a hint of imperceptible worry. Xiaolou er, Xiaolou er. Yan Xianglou's heart suddenly felt warm. She knew that this was how the master told those who wanted to steal her gentleman's sword that he was here to support his apprentice, and anyone who dared to touch his apprentice would have to bear his wrath. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 163. Chapter 163, There's a Long Way to Go. Master, Luo Er is here. Yan Xianglou stood at the entrance of the cave and shouted loudly. Deng Chang's heard his little apprentice's voice, and his uneasy heart instantly fell, and he followed her voice from the air. He saw his young apprentice waving to him with a smile on his face at the entrance of the cave halfway up the mountain. Deng Chang's was completely relieved when he saw the young apprentice standing at the entrance of the cave halfway up the cliff. Fortunately, he was fine. But when he saw Xuanhuan standing behind her, he narrowed his eyes. It was this kid again. Didn't you break off the engagement with your young apprentice? Why are you still together? In the past, it was to get Luo Er to suppress the poison for him, but why now? There wasn't much space for people to stand at the entrance of the cave, so Yan Xianglou immediately climbed down along the cliff. Deng Chang saw his apprentice's actions, but he hadn't broken through to the king level yet. Even without breaking through the secret realm, this level is not easy for the little apprentice. Following the young apprentice to the peach grove below, he immediately asked, who attacked you? To be able to make the life-saving jade tablet you left for your young apprentice break into pieces, you must have encountered an enemy whose cultivation level is similar to your own. It does not involve the life of the little apprentice, and the strongest blow left by oneself will not be taken proactively. Let him know who it is, and let him taste the poison refined by his poison king. Yan Xianglou stuck out her tongue and lowered her voice and said, "It's the secret realm of Lingquan." Deng Chang's eyes paused, thinking of the news he heard, saying that the secret realm of Lingquan was destroyed and would never appear again. Could it be because of what the young apprentice did before he came out? But he really couldn't figure out how his young disciple, who was only at the 9th level of spiritual cultivation, could destroy the secret realm. No wonder the jade tokens he left for her to defend themselves were broken. As long as everything is fine, Deng Chang's didn't ask any more questions. After all, he was outside. Lower, this is not a good thing. Yan Xianglou pulled her skirt and spun it around. I heard that you got the gentleman's sword, Deng Chang smiled. Well, so many people are against Luo'er's idea. However, Luo'er is not afraid of them. Whoever dares to come, I will let them taste the poisonous elixir. Luo'er has refined so many poisonous elixirs to no avail. Well, if they give me this opportunity, I will be very happy. Yuan Xianglou looked like I am not afraid of them. Deng Chang's knew that his young apprentice was speaking to those who were chasing him, and he did not want him to worry about her. After all, he had said that after she came out of the secret realm, he would be ready to leave the Xianxia continent. But now he is really worried. At this time, Ji Zhozhong came over and said, Ji Zhozhong, the junior, has met Senior Deng. Ji Zhozhong did not call Deng Chang's the master of Qiandu Peak nor the Poison King, but called him Senior. Deng Chang's narrowed his eyes. Although he didn't have a wife, it wasn't because he couldn't get a wife, but because he didn't want to delay his cultivation time because of feelings. It didn't mean that he didn't understand. This kid didn't even hide his thoughts. Since the young apprentice broke off the engagement with him, it means that she does not have him in her heart. Is he falling in love with the young apprentice because the young apprentice detoxified him? How sincere are these feelings? Deng Chang's didn't want to hit the smiling person with his hand, and Deng Chang's wouldn't deliberately deny Ji Zhozhong a good look, so he nodded. Without saying anything, he looked at his young apprentice and said, Master is here to take you back. Of course, Yan Xianglou knew where she was going, but she really didn't want to go back to Xianyuan section. She shook her head and said, Master, I'm about to break through. I'm going to retreat to break through to the king level. I won't go back now. Master will wait for me when I go back. As soon as I break through, I will go back to the sect to see my master. The implication is that Deng Chang's should wait for her to return before leaving. As long as she breaks through the second level of Pangu flower blooming, the master can leave with peace of mind, and her cultivation speed will return to its previous state. What place can be safer than 1,000 poison peaks? Deng Chang said disapprovingly. This is a secret, but don't worry, master, I guarantee it will be a very private place and very safe. I used to go there when I needed to retreat. She couldn't tell the truth to the master. After all, Pangu space was too easy for people to covet. It wasn't that she didn't believe the master, but that she didn't want to harm the master. Seeing that she was so persistent, he stopped trying to persuade her. He knew that she had a lot of ideas. Since she didn't go back with him, she must have the strength to protect herself. Well, master will wait for you to return at Qiandu Peak. No one needs to be afraid. If anyone dares to touch a hair on your head, master will make his whole family bald. Ha ha ha, master, you are so domineering. Yan Xianglou couldn't help but laugh happily when she heard the master's words. The master really loved her. Will master send you there? Deng Chang's asked. No need, I have this. Yan Xianglou took out a teleportation pattern and showed it off. Deng Chang smiled and said, okay, you go first. Yan Xianglao knew that her master was afraid that he would leave first, and those people would attack her. After saying goodbye to her master, she nodded to Jijudian again, inputting her spiritual power into the mysterious pattern, and her figure instantly disappeared in front of their eyes. Jiju Zongfeng's eyes were full of disappointment. He originally thought that he would have a good relationship with her after his health recovered, but this person left immediately, and he didn't know where he went. Deng Chang saw his young apprentice leaving and looked at Jiju Kong. Since you agreed to break off the engagement when Luo Er proposed, don't regret it. Seeing that the poison in your body has been cured, don't look for Luo Er again in the future. Without giving Jiju Hong a chance to say anything, he left Yukong directly, leaving Jiju Kong, who looked not very good. Chang Feng, Musixian, and Jin Yutang, the three of them looked at each other, but they didn't dare to look at their master. At this time, they had better be honest. After a while, Jiju Hong said, "Go back." Since Yan Xianglao has not returned to Xianyuan sect with her master, it means that the place where she wants to retreat is very secret, and he may not be able to find it, otherwise she would not be so confident to go to retreat alone. Now that her body is well, many things should be resolved. They have been dealt with. As for Yan Xianglao, didn't she tell her that she would go back to Xianyuan sect to see her master after her breakthrough? She sent people to guard Xianyuan sect, so she would always know. Her news, some things can only take time. The people who originally followed Deng Chang's to find Yuan Xianglao and wanted to the Junzi sword had to leave at this time. They went there to find the people who were sent away by the Xuanhuan. Actually, they were wrong. Although Yan Xianglao used the teleportation pattern, he didn't go far at all. He went directly back to the cave on the cliff and entered the space. She planned to practice in space before breaking through the second level. There were places safer than her own space. After returning to the space, Yan Xianglao took out the spiritual spring and 9-leaf clover that Jiju Hong gave her. Although her cultivation level is now at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual level, her spiritual energy is not in a saturated state now, and she will inevitably break through. There is no spiritual energy that needs to be measured that is richer and more pure than the spiritual energy in Pangu space. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 164. Chapter 164, Seizing the Opportunity. What's more, she also has the space stone milk, the ultimate cultivation treasure. Take out the stone nest, pour all the spiritual spring water into it, and then start refining it. The spiritual spring water is originally a spiritual substance and does not contain any impurities. She only needs to concentrate the spiritual spring water to enhance its effect. After condensing most of the bottle of spiritual spring water into a size as big as a fingernail, she refined the remaining piece of 9-leaf clover into juice, then merged it with the spiritual spring water, and finally refined it into a pill a quarter of the size of a normal elixir. Pill. This is luxury enough. Who would be willing to use so much spiritual spring water to refine such a pure elixir? Yan Xianglao gave the elixir a very domineering name, Poguan. This elixir is indeed a special elixir she refined in order to break the second level of Pangu flower bloom, and the name is worthy of its name. Although both the Poguan and the transformation pill are made from spiritual spring water and 9-leaf clover, the Poguan is made from pure spiritual spring water and 9-leaf clover. It has a different effect from the transformation pill. It can help break through any level, including breaking through the zone level. She didn't believe that with the Poguan and the waste gas, it was possible to grow space stone milk of spiritual objects such as spiritual springs and 9-leaf clover. She still couldn't break through the second level of Pangu flower bloom. After the elixir was refined, she was not in a hurry to make a breakthrough. She climbed up the tree, crossed her legs on the branch, touched the stone milk with one hand and started practicing. The cross-section of the stony milk is not small. She put down one hand and it was enough for Yun Tuan to lie on it and practice. one person, one pet, and so quietly began to practice. At this time, Miao Nagano was holding a long sword in his hand and stopped a man who was running away in a panic. The tip of the sword was pointed directly at the man's eyebrows, and it could penetrate with just a little force. "What are you going to do?" The man didn't know Miao Nagano and looked at him in horror. The main reason was that he was not as strong as the other person and it was impossible to escape from the other person's hands. "Hand over the 9-leaf clover," Miao Xianxia said in a cold voice. His main reason for entering the secret realm this time was the 9-leaf clover in the hands of the man in front of him. With the memory of the previous life, although Miao Nagano didn't know who got the spirit spring and the 9-leaf clover after the secret realm of spirit spring was opened this time, he did know that there was a person who cultivated at the spirit level who missed a piece that a strong man grabbed. 9-leaf clover. After taking the 9-leaf clover, this man's talent changed, and his cultivation talent improved quickly. By chance, he became friends with the down and out person. After drinking too much one time, this man was so proud that he spilled the beans about how lucky he was. There were so many powerful people, but he, a spiritually leveled person, actually got a piece of 9-leaf clover, which is why he has the cultivation and talent he has today. Miao Nagano was very envious of his luck. The man described in great detail the path he took at that time, how he met the man, and where he escaped after getting the 9-leaf clover. Therefore, Miao Nagano clearly knew the route he took, otherwise he would not be like this. It was easy to find him. In his last life, he became friends with a man like him because he was down and out. In this new life, he would never be able to be friends with a man again. Not only did he look down on his origin, but the main reason was that he wanted to take away the man's opportunity. The man's eyes shrank. At his level, he didn't even go to the place where the 9-leaf clover grew. He got the 9-leaf clover out of pure luck. A strong man who grabbed the 9-leaf clover was chased and killed by someone. Before he died, the man threw out the kinkin bag containing the 9-leaf clover, and it happened to be thrown to the place where he was hiding. He ran away and was killed before he got very far. Hence it made him easier. This great luck that suddenly fell from the sky made him ecstatic. He wanted to leave here quickly, and then secretly took the 9-leaf clover to change his talent. Although he knew that it would be more effective to make an elixir, he was not an alchemist himself. If any alchemist helped him refine the elixir, I am afraid that this piece of 9-leaf clover would never come back. Why did someone suddenly stop him and know that he got a piece of 9-leaf clover? How did the other party know? This is a 9-leaf clover, a spiritual object that can change his cultivation talent. It is not yet warm in his hands. He is unwilling to give it to him like this, but if he doesn't give it to him, he will die. While he hesitated, the sword in Miao Nagano's hand suddenly exerted force and instantly pierced the man's forehead. The man's eyes widened in disbelief. He didn't expect that the other party would kill him so directly. He didn't even want to leave a way for him to survive. Fortunately, he was still deciding whether to give it or not. He felt extremely unwilling. This was the luck God had given him. This was a disaster. Had I known that he would have eaten it directly, it would have been better to take advantage of others. His eyes were wide open and he fell down with a look on his face. Miao Nagano picked out the kinkin bag hidden in his sleeve with a long sword, wiped off the brand of divine consciousness on it, and opened it to see that there were many things inside, among which a Hanyu box was at the top. He took it out directly. Those who want to get the 9-leaf clover and spiritual spring will prepare such a cold jade box. When he opened it, it turned out to be a 9-leaf clover. He really got this 9-leaf clover. With this 9-leaf clover, he could refine the magic elixir himself, and his cultivation talent would be improved. This is the opportunity of this life. It's different after all. Miao Nagano had a weird smile on his gloomy face. No one can stop him from becoming a strong man. When he becomes a strong man, he will pay back those who have bullied him one by one. Put away the box containing the 9-leaf clover alone, and the cancan bag as well. He glanced at the direction of the secret realm of Xuanhuan and frowned. This life is still a little different. In his last life, he never heard that the Xuanhuan secret realm was destroyed. Why was it destroyed this time? He was curious about who did what to destroy the Xuanhuan secret realm and whether he had a greater opportunity. I have to say that Miao Nagano is still very smart, but even if he thought of it, he couldn't know who it was. He turned around and left. He wanted to find a place to make alchemy and then change his talent. So what if he was abandoned by his sect and family at the same time? He has the memory of his previous life, and the opportunities in his memory are the opportunities of this life. One day he will make everyone who abandoned him regret it. This time entering the secret realm, he knew that his ultimate goal was to seize the opportunity from this man, so after entering, he practiced and improved his cultivation with peace of mind, and also got some treasures, which can be said to be a fruitful harvest. He is very satisfied. After changing his talent this time, his cultivation level will advance faster. There is only one regret about this trip, which is that I didn't meet Yan Xianglue. I heard that she entered the Valley of Fire and got the gentleman's sword. This is not an ordinary luck. He did not encounter the Valley of Fire but entered the Mountain of 10,000 Beasts and advanced to the 3rd level of cultivation. As for Yan Xianglue, as long as he becomes a strong man, it is not easy to get a woman. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 165. Chapter 165 Breakthrough begins. 1. Ignoring the corpse on the ground, Miao Nagano put away his sword and left. Yan Xianglue didn't know that she had become an obsession in Miao Chang's ambition. At the same time, Xianxia was also making deals with others. In front of her was an old man with a wretched look but extremely strong cultivation. He looked at her with evil eyes, not hiding his thoughts, want a 9-leaf clover. Xianxia knew what she was doing, what she would gain and what she would lose by doing so, but she had no choice but to get the 9-leaf clover, otherwise she would be like this for the rest of her life. She was unwilling to do so. She had always been the Qin family's a genius, whether it was cultivation or Xuanhuan. If her cultivation would never progress, she would be willing to pay any price for a future. I think, you can make any request, Xianxia bit her lower lip and said. She knew very well what she would face after saying these words. There was really no turning back, but she had no regrets. She is never willing to let this happen. She doesn't want to let go of either Jizhokong or Yan Xianglue. Since Jizhokong couldn't get it, he would just destroy it. As for Ruan Xianglue, she is very jealous of her beautiful face, so she can peel it off and make a human skin face. It will definitely be very comfortable to use. The old man chuckled and said, I can give you a magic pill made from 9-leaf clover. You will be mine from now on. Xianxia stiffened, but said without hesitation, okay. She knew what her biggest capital was now, but who made her see the old man grabbing 2 leaves of the 9-leaf clover? She would never miss such an opportunity. Only if the old man is lustful will she have a chance. If he is not lustful, it will be a bad thing. The old man chuckled, picked up Xianxia and disappeared. At the same time, those who came out of the secret realm all left the Qifeng Mountains no matter how unwilling they were. After all, those who get the spiritual spring and the 9-leaf clover will not stay in the Qifeng Mountains. They wanted to seize the Junzi sword, but Yu Xianglue also used the teleportation pattern to leave under the protection of her master. No one is stupid if they want to rob other people. They have already formed a group, there is no point in staying. Besides, they have been practicing in the secret realm for a month. The only one who has not advanced is probably Yan Xianglue, and the least one will advance to the 1st level. They all need to go back and take a good retreat to stabilize their cultivation. At dusk, the Qifeng Mountains returned to their usual silence. Xianxia touched the space stone milk in space and practiced until the early morning of the next day, opening a pair of beautiful apricot eyes. No wonder Xuanhuan said that practicing with a small piece of space stone milk will get twice the result with half the effort. This space stone milk is simply a cheating artifact in practice. Even if she is blocked by the checkpoint, she can absorb spiritual energy much faster. Moreover, the inhaled spiritual energy is converted into spiritual power with a comfortable atmosphere, which makes the practice not only not tiring, but also very relaxing. It has only been one night, and the spiritual power has been accumulated. With her heart pounding, Xianxia took out the Poguan and put it in her mouth and swallowed it. It would be a lie to say that she is not nervous at all. Breaking through the second level is what she is looking forward to most now. She doesn't know if Poguan can work. Whether it works or not, you have to try. After the elixir slid down, the same comfortable feeling as when she was practicing by touching the space stone breast filled her body. The obstacles in the body caused by the second level of Pangu flower blooming are invisible and intangible. At this time, these obstacles condensed together with the comfortable breath of Poguan, as if they had a form, and they all moved into her veins. Gather and go. Xianxia was very surprised. She didn't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing to hinder the passage into the meridians. But at this time, she had no chance to think about anything else. She had to continue regardless of whether it worked or not. She calmed down and put her hand on the space stone breast again, continuing to absorb spiritual energy and practice, preparing to start a breakthrough as soon as the opportunity came. The comfortable breath filled the whole body, but the meridians could not enter. At this time, Xianxia clearly felt that her meridians were filled with obstructed breath, which was cold. Not only that, the obstructed breath was still growing, and the meridians were stretched. Stand up. At this moment, she was really starting to worry. Wouldn't these obstructive auras burst her meridians? When the two souls just came back, that is when she thought she was reborn and broke through the first hurdle of Pangu flower blooming. Because he was pushed off the cliff, the broken bones and broken tendons were rebuilt. The tendons were several times wider than before. The spiritual roots of the 5 saplings in the Danshan were intertwined and condensed into the spiritual roots, and Yuanying were also formed at that time. Should her meridians need to be widened again this time? If you can't bear this result, will your muscles and veins be cut off and you will become a complete invalid? Thinking of this, Xianxia felt even more nervous, and all her attention was focused on her meridians. The meridians were becoming more and more bulging, and were already 10 times as wide as the original meridians. She was worried that they would explode in the next moment. At this moment, the nascent soul in Danshan suddenly stood up. The golden little figure pinched its fingers, raised one hand upward, and lowered the other hand, and began to spin. The flowers on the right side of nascent soul were also suspended above her head, and began to absorb spiritual energy crazily. Xianxia was very helpless. The meridians here were not finished yet. Why did he start to advance at this time? Can this be successful? However, even if she had doubts in her heart, she did not pause at all and devoted herself wholeheartedly to the breakthrough. She has no way to solve the problem of meridians, so she might as well focus on making breakthroughs and promotions. As long as you break through the king level, the second level of Pangu Huikai will be broken through successfully, and maybe the problem of meridians will be solved. She relaxed her entire body and began to absorb the spiritual energy. The more she absorbed, the more she absorbed. The clouds that were lying on the space stone were startled. The whirring little body suddenly jumped up, left the space, jumped down from the tree, and hid far away. Master is about to advance. Why is this promotion so scary? It even rejects it? It is the contracted spiritual pet of the owner. Logically speaking, the owner's promotion will not affect it. Xuanhuan looked at Xianxia from a distance, his dark eyes full of worry. Anyone who saw the scene in front of them would be worried. At this time, Yan Xiangluo's whole body had been wrapped in a whirlwind of spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy was rushing into her body crazily. This means that in Pangu space, if it were outside, there would definitely not be so much spiritual energy for her to absorb. While she absorbed spiritual energy and advanced, her meridians continued to expand, already 20 times as wide as before. The meridians of normal people are as thick as a hair. The meridians of monks and people who practice vitality are much wider than those of normal people. The wider the meridians, the more spiritual energy can be stored, and the stronger the talent. The function of the spiritual transformation pill is to broaden the meridians and cultivate spiritual roots, thereby improving people's cultivation talents. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 166. Chapter 166 Breakthrough begins, 2. When Yan Xiangluo was born, her meridians were wider than those of normal people. When she broke through the first level, they were widened several times. This time it was even more frightening. On the basis of the widening, it was actually widened another 20 times, and it is still widening. She could no longer imagine how wide her meridians could be. The spiritual energy absorbed by the body has been refined and filtered by the flowers and absorbed by the entangled mixed five-color spiritual roots. The meridians are getting wider and wider, the spiritual roots are getting thicker, and golden light appears on Yuanying's body. Yan Xiangluo knew that she was really going to advance. The last time she broke through the Yuan level, a golden light group appeared first when she condensed into Yuanying. After that, golden light also appeared every time she advanced. It's just that this time the golden light is stronger and more powerful. The spiritual roots that had been absorbing spiritual energy and thickened suddenly twisted and stretched like a lazy man who had just woken up, and suddenly grew. The 5 spiritual roots that were already condensed together became very strong, and now they are even thicker. It was thick and strong, and leaves began to grow on the spiritual root. In a moment, the spiritual root tree turned into a big tree with lush leaves. The 5-color spiritual root trunk and the lush green crown look like a fantasy beauty. The nascent soul is still spinning under the tree, and the spiritual energy is still rushing towards the spiritual root tree crazily. At this time, Yan Xiangluo had no time to take into account how many times the meridians had been widened. The golden light on Yuanying's body suddenly exploded, and the entire dantian was filled with golden light. The obstructive breath in the meridians dissipated instantly, and the comfortable breath broke in, and the gap in the level of cultivation that had not been loosened was also opened. When the second level was broken through, Yan Xiangluo also really started to advance. The clouds that were far away saw a golden light falling down and covering Yan Xiangluo. His dark eyes were full of shock. The master actually has golden light shining down when he is promoted. This is not something that any monk can have. It can only be seen by those who practice ancient techniques, and they have practiced the ancient techniques to the extreme. Oh my God, what a great master I have chosen. Yun Tuan forgot that the master was not chosen by himself. He was inadvertently contracted by Yan Xiangluo and had no choice but to do so. Yan Xiangluo was already immersed in the joy of promotion. She reached the first level of king level and finally broke through to king level. She could fly in the air. But the advancement did not stop. She advanced to the second level of king level and the third level of king level. She advanced to 3 levels in a row before stopping. After advancing to the third level in one go, the spiritual root tree stopped frantically absorbing spiritual energy. Yuanying also spun down and sat cross-legged under the tree. Flowers also fell on the right side of her head. The golden light that shrouded her body also disappeared. Yan Xiangluo felt the changes in her body. The meridians were widened 30 times, the spiritual roots turned into thick and lush trees, and the absorption of spiritual energy became smoother. The second level of Pangu flower blooming was broken through. Looking at Yuanying's buttocks which were still bare, Yanxiangluo felt a little helpless. The lotus platform still didn't appear. Pangu Huikai has passed the second level, but the lotus platform has not appeared yet, nor has it delayed her advancement. What does this lotus platform mean? When are you ready to come out? However, she didn't dwell too much on it. She was already satisfied that she could break through the second level of Pangu flower blossom and advance to the king level. As long as it doesn't delay her further cultivation, she still wants to leave Tianqian continent early to find her parents. At this time, she also understood why she had not broken through the second level. The second level tested whether her meridians were wide enough. Only when there was an opportunity to widen the meridians, would the Pangu flower blooming technique help her to expand her meridians. Widen. Thinking about it now, the Pangu flower blooming technique is not only a technique, but also a wonderful technique that can change people's talents. No wonder it's so difficult to practice. She didn't know when the third level was, but her father's letter only told her that the second level was when she broke through to the king level. Does that mean that the third level should be after the zone level, otherwise her father wouldn't have failed? Tell her. If this is the case, she doesn't need to worry about the third level for the time being. The red skirt fluttered, jumped down from the tree, and looked at the sky outside the space. It took her about an hour to advance and break through. She looked at the bowl. It had been a whole day from yesterday morning to this morning, and now there were 8 in it. 9 drops of spiritual spring water. She has not touched the spiritual spring water for the time being. She plans to stabilize her cultivation before returning to Xuanhuan section. The master's wish is to go to the higher continent. Go there early and benefit from it. She can no longer delay the master. Therefore, she decided to take away all the spiritual spring water she had accumulated before the master left. Although master has excellent cultivation talents, if you go to the higher continent, there should be more people with good talents. The spiritual transformation pill is what master needs most. As for alchemy, there is no need for him. The master himself is already the top alchemist in the mainland, but because his name of Poison King is so famous, the world ignores the master's alchemy ability. She was not in a hurry to stabilize her cultivation. Instead, she cooked in the space, ate herself, and fed the clouds. She returned to the tree, touched the space stone milk, and continued to practice. Yun Tuan also continued to lie on the space stone milk and continued to sleep and practice. Another day passed, and Yanxiangluo felt that her danshan was full of spiritual energy, so she stopped to stabilize her cultivation. Although it is easy for her to absorb spiritual energy, she does not want to continue to advance and break through the third level in a row, and it is the third level of king level cultivation. She must go through a certain amount of actual combat tempering before she can truly stabilize her cultivation level. Therefore, she planned to go back to Xuanhuan sect, see her master off, and then go to Wanghai forest to continue her training. This time, she didn't have any concerns. She wanted to go directly to the Wanghai forest side to see how dangerous it was, so much so that even the strong men from the mainland did not dare to go there. After looking at the sleeping clouds, Yanxiangluo left the space and came out of the cave, just in time to see the rising Sunday. Perhaps because she passed the second level of Pangu flower blooming, her body and mind were relaxed and warm. The light shone down, and she was filled with joy. In fact, after breaking through the second level, she understood that each level of the Pangu flower blossom technique may seem like an obstacle, but as long as you break through it, your body and talent will undergo huge changes. Just like last time, she made the 5 spiritual roots condense into one, turning the waste body into a genius body. This time her meridians were widened 30 times, which the monks would not even dare to think about. Opportunities to think about. Hence, The ancient exercises are actually more perfect exercises that allow practitioners to continuously change themselves and achieve higher achievements. She could clearly feel the changes in her body, and even her vitality, which she had not cultivated in the past few months, was naturally improving. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 167. Chapter 167 Return to Xuanhuan Sect. Yuan Xiongluo's vitality level is now level 9, which is already the highest level of lower continental vitality. In other words, now she can walk across the continent without using spiritual energy, just relying on her vitality. Although the combat effectiveness of Yuan Qi is not as strong as that of spiritual energy, the combat effectiveness of a 9th level Yuan Qi warrior is much stronger than that of a person with a king level cultivation. It can be said that no one with cultivation level below Zun level can compete with the 9th level Yuan Qi warrior. This is also the main reason why Yan Xiongluo convinced Master not to worry about her and that he could go to the higher continent without worries. Standing at the entrance of the cliff cave, Yan Xiongluo's apricot eyes were shining brightly. She was a king-level practitioner and could fly in the air. Let's try it now. Thinking of the method of flying in the air that her master taught her, she went through it in her mind. She turned her right hand into a sword finger, stretched it forward, then used her spiritual energy to jump out. As expected, her body was as light as a feather and she could hang in the air. However, she was still unable to control her balance. She staggered here and there, swayed a few times, and fell head first. Looking at the peach forest below, she was so frightened that she broke into a cold sweat and quickly raised her head. The body tried its best to push upward, and then the body rushed upward again. Fortunately, there is no one in the Qifeng Mountains at this time, otherwise you would definitely see a beautiful girl in a red dress flying up and down in the air in a very scary way. Half an hour passed. Yan Xiongluo looked at the mountains and rivers at her feet. She raised her idle left hand to wipe the cold sweat from her forehead. She finally had control of her strength and could fly smoothly in the air. She was so excited that she could finally fly in the air. Remembering the white eagle mount that Master gave her, Master said at the beginning that he would give it to her as a mount before she breaks through to the king level. Once she can fly in the air, he would let the white eagle go free. Of course she had to keep her words. After entering the secret realm, she put the white eagle into her pangu space, thinking that maybe she could use it after entering the secret realm. Unfortunately, not only was it impossible to fly in the air in the secret realm, but even the flying spirit beasts brought outside could not fly inside, so Bai Diao was kept in her space. However, she used her mind to draw a territory for it, and it could not fly and move around in the space at will. The aura in the space was rich, and the white eagle had been practicing quietly without moving at all. With a thought, Yan Xiongluo released the white eagle from the space. The white eagle, which was still practicing, suddenly changed places. The huge difference in spiritual energy made it stunned for a moment and almost fell. It quickly flapped its wings and flew up. It was then that she realized that Ruanxiang had fallen into Yukong flying, with regret in her eyes. The place she sent it to was a good place for cultivation. It had only been a month, and its cultivation had increased a lot. She can fly in the air now, and her deal with her master has been completed. She can no longer follow her or go there to practice. Bai Diao, thank you, you are free from now on, Yan Xiongluo said to Bai Diao. The white eagle flew around her in circles with some reluctance. Yuan Xiongluo smiled and waved to it. There is no such thing as a banquet in the world. I'll see you again in the future. Bai Diao knew that it was time to leave. Although he liked that place of cultivation, he was unwilling to let her give up her freedom for it. However, after 3 years of being together, she also had feelings for Yu Xiongluo and flew around her again. Finally, he fluttered his wings and left. Yan Xiongluo watched Bai Diao leave, and felt a little disappointed. Although Bai Diao didn't often use her, Bai Diao had been with her for 3 years, so it was impossible for him to have no feelings at all. As she just said, there is no such thing as a banquet that lasts forever, especially in this fantasy world. Depending on her talent level and cultivation level, her future path will definitely be different. She will eventually have to experience a lot of partings and giving up. This is also the main reason why she is unwilling to put in more emotions. The more she cares about him, the sadder she will be when she leaves. I can't think too much, take a deep breath, and hurry back to Xuanhuan section. Although she can fly in the air, she doesn't want to go back like this. Not to mention that it consumes too much spiritual energy, takes a long time, and has troublesome safety issues. I'm afraid everyone in Tianqian continent knows that she has obtained the gentleman's sword. Although she is not afraid of people coming to rob her, she is afraid of trouble. Took out the teleportation array plate given to her by her sworn brother, input spiritual power, and teleported directly to the foot of Xuanhuan sect mountain. As soon as her figure appeared, the people arranged by Jizhong discovered her and quickly sent a message to Jizhong. There was also a group of people who quickly sent a message back to inform their master after discovering her. There are some of them with bad intentions, who are here for the gentleman's sword, and those who want to see if they have a chance to get the gentleman's sword are also ready to take action. Of course, these people are not members of big families or powerful families. After all, no one wants to confront the Xuanhuan sect head-on. But it's different for some casual cultivators who are strong in cultivation. They always want to give it a try with a sense of luck. Yan Xianglou glanced at the road up the mountain, and the scene where she came to participate in the Xuanhuan sect's examination 3 years ago suddenly appeared in front of her eyes. At that time, she never expected that she would leave Xuanhuan sect in such a short period of time. Joined the sect at the age of 13, and left the sect at the age of 15 last year. He stayed in the sect for a little more than 2 years, and it has only been 3 years now. Had it not been for the opening of the Lingquan secret realm, the 3-year sect election would have ended, and the sects have not yet begun to recruit disciples. While thinking, Yan Xianglou rose into the air and flew towards the mountain gate of Xuanhuan sect. Everyone who saw it was extremely surprised. They were not surprised that she had broken through to the king level, but were surprised that she had been promoted to the 3rd level in a row. They all thought that she had obtained the spiritual spring or the 9-leaf clover, otherwise it would be impossible to advance to the 3rd level in succession. Class. After all, although these people don't know what her cultivation level was before she entered the secret realm, they all know that she was at the peak of the 9th level of spiritual level when she came out of the secret realm. I was very upset because I didn't know it at the time, otherwise I would have risked my life to get it. At this time, Xuanhuan sect mountain had received news of her return. Deng Chang stood on Qiandu Peak and looked in the direction of the mountain gate. In a moment, I saw a fiery red figure. Yu Xianglou didn't even stop. He took out his identity card and waved it to the disciple guarding the mountain gate. Without stopping, he headed directly towards Thousand Poison Peak in the air. Yan Xianglou is now the talk of the entire continent. Even her iconic red dress is easily recognizable. The disciples of the Xuanhuan sect have very complicated feelings towards her. Since she entered the sect, she has not had much interaction with the disciples of the Immortal Cloud section at first. They thought her cultivation level was too low, she was a weakling with 5 spiritual roots, and she was also afraid of the Thousand Poison Peak poison. In addition, Yan Xianglou didn't go down the mountain very often, and he only participated in the sect training in the 1st year, and did not participate in the remaining sect competitions and training, and later left the Xuanhuan sect. Most of them went to Lingquan secret realm. Some people saw her there, but they didn't come up to talk. The main reason was that they knew her and she didn't know them. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 168. Chapter 168 Some Gratitude. In Xuanhuan sect, Xianluo only had contact with Baitang Yunyu, a disciple of the sect leader, and Jin Xinrong, an inner disciple. Hence, the disciples who saw her return felt a little complicated and couldn't tell what they were feeling. Lu Yuexi came down from Xianyuan Peak to do some errands, and happened to see Yuan Xiangluo flying away from the sky. Even though it was just a glance, she also saw her increasingly outstanding appearance. In the past, I was jealous that her appearance was better than mine, and I felt unwilling to do so. After all, Yan Xiangluo was a waste with 5 spiritual roots. Later, I couldn't see Yan Xiangluo, so I didn't know what her cultivation level was, but now I can see that if she can fly in the air, she must be above the king level. She only broke through to the king level after returning from this experience in the secret realm. What does this mean? It means that the cultivation level of other people's 5 spiritual root wastes is the same as hers. Then who do you think you are? He is still 2 years older than her. The previous complacency and pride disappeared in an instant without a trace. In an instant, my mood seemed to have changed. Looking back at my previous self, I looked like a clown who actually plotted against Yu Xiangluo out of jealousy and lost his true nature. I want her to be attacked by monsters in Wanghai Forest, and I hope she dies in Wanghai Forest. Sensing the change in her mood, Lu Yuexi suddenly felt grateful to Yu Xiangluo. If it hadn't been for her appearance, she might have been practicing under the control of this emotion for the rest of her life. She would never have gone too far in her cultivation, let alone have any problems. What a big breakthrough! For a moment, she felt that her body and mind were relaxed, and her state had entered a higher level. He pursed his lips and smiled, and then went about his business happily. Before Yan Xiangluo reached Thousand Poison Peak, she saw her master standing on the mountain with his hands behind his hands. She shouted happily, "Master, I'm back." The handyman disciples of Qiandu Peak heard her voice and looked up at the person coming from the sky. The silent Thousand Poison Peak suddenly seemed to be alive. Falling next to the master, Yan Xiangluo said happily, "Master, I have made a breakthrough." Deng Chang's now knows what breakthrough she is talking about. However, he was also very surprised. The young apprentice actually advanced to the 3rd level. The ancient skills really lived up to their reputation. Not bad, Deng Chang's praised without hesitation. That's right, it doesn't matter whose disciple I am. Yan Xiangluo raised her chin proudly. It was rare to see her so lively. Deng Chang's laughed and said, "Let's go and see your master first. He keeps talking about you." "Don't worry, I'll make some dishes to eat with master." Yan Xiangluo ran to the kitchen. After she left, no one used the kitchen. It remained idle, but it was not dirty. Deng Chang's asked his handyman disciples to clean the kitchen in shifts to keep it looking pristine. So she went into the kitchen and took out some ingredients from her own space: steamed rice, washed, cut and stir-fried vegetables, all very neatly. Half an hour later, she came out carrying 2 large food boxes. "Master, I've gone to see my ancestor." Deng Chang's came out of the room and was in a good mood when he saw his little apprentice, who was much more lively. The 2 masters and disciples flew away in the air, and Yu Xiangluo said with emotion, "Finally, I don't have to be carried by the master or ride on a white eagle to see the master." Deng Chang's laughed and said, "Why am I still wronging you?" "Not wronged, just a little shameful." Yan Xiangluo stuck out her tongue and said. After finishing his words, he added, "Master, I have set Bai Diao free." When Deng Chang's was looking for a mount for his young apprentice, he happened to encounter Bai Diao's partner, who was seriously injured. If he didn't save him, he would definitely die, so he used this as an exchange. He saved Bai Diao's partner, and Bai Diao acted as a flying mount for Xiao Luo before his apprentice broke through to the king level. Now that the young apprentice has broken through to the king level and can fly in the air, he no longer needs a flying mount. Naturally, he must fulfill his promise and set the white eagle free. The two masters and disciples arrived at Master Qinhe's residence. Master Qinhe was already waiting for them in the yard. Yanziongloo immediately smiled when he saw the food box in his hand. I asked why Xiaoluo came to see the master. It turned out to be cooking delicious food. Master, from the look of you, it seems that you want to see these meals more, Xiaoluo said aggrievedly. It's almost hair length, why is it getting skinnier? Master Qinhe pointed at her and said. Yanziongloo carried the food box into the main room, took out the food and laid it out. No matter how old you are still a child in front of your master. What's more, she is only 16 years old and has not yet had hairpins. 3 generations of master and apprentice sat down together and talked while eating. What are Xiaoluo's plans? Grandmaster Qinhe asked. His disciple wants to break through the clan hierarchy and leave here, and he supports it. After all, this is the wish of all their monks. Although these old guys are also at the peak of the 9th level of the Zun level, they just can't meet the conditions for breakthrough, mainly due to the limitations of their talents. Now that they are this age, they may have no hope of breaking through the zone level and going to a higher level continent in this life. But this should not hold the apprentice back. The Yao disciple has only one little apprentice, and she is a delicate little girl. It is normal to be worried. But although Xiaoluo looks delicate, she is very tenacious inside. Otherwise, she would not have been 10 years old after her parents left. The little girl can live well until now. Therefore, he wanted to know Yanziongloo's plan, and the purpose was also to let Yao Tu leave with peace of mind. Master, although I have broken through the 2nd level of the technique, the Lotus platform still has not appeared. It should not affect my promotion to the sect level. After the master left, I did not want to stay in the section. It is not that I don't trust the sect. But what I need next is experience. After master leaves, I plan to travel to the mainland and go to any place where I can improve my realm and practice. I want to see master and my parents as soon as possible. Yanziongloo expressed her thoughts without any concealment. Xiaoluo, you must know that you will not be able to suppress the matter of getting the gentleman's sword so easily. There is no bottom line for human greed. Although you are now a king level 3rd level cultivation, there are many people who are higher than you. Yes, traveling is very dangerous, Master Qinhe reminded her. Yanziongloo smiled and said without any discouragement, I understand this and have thought about it. Experience itself carries risks. I have many trump cards. If they dare to come, they will serve as experience stones for me. In this way I will progress faster. Master Qinhe changed his serious expression and laughed. Thankfully, your master has chosen the apprentice after so many years. He is exactly the same as him. Your master also said the same thing back then. Yanziongloo looked at her master differently. Deng Changs touched his nose and said, Master was a little young and energetic at that time. Luo still has to be careful. Yanziongloo nodded and said, Master, don't worry, I will be very careful. After all, everything is possible only if I keep my life. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 169. Chapter 169 Golden Lotus Platform. Master Qinhe was extremely satisfied when he saw his disciples and disciples. The most proud thing in his life was to accept Deng Changs, a close disciple, and then this disciple accepted his most proud disciple. The disciple will definitely leave successfully, and the disciple will only be stronger than her master. Although he has no hope of visiting higher continents in this life, both the disciple and the disciple can go, so he has no regrets. Xiaoluo, Master, Let me show you how the lotus platform is doing. Master Qin he took out the fist-sized purple crystal ball that he used to test the spiritual roots of Yuan Xiangluo. Yan Xiangluo was also about to ask her master to show it to her. She stretched out her hand to hold the crystal ball and input the spiritual power of the 5 spiritual roots. A 5-color light burst out from the crystal ball. It was still 5 uniform colors, but in the colorful light, a looming golden lotus appears and disappears from time to time. Master Qin he and Deng Chang's both looked at the looming lotus platform in shock, and said in unison, "The golden lotus platform." Of course, Yan Xiangluo also saw it. Is this his lotus platform? It is as golden as Yuanying, giving him a feeling of wealth. That's enough. Master Qin he came back to his senses and said to Ruan Xiangluo. Yan Xiangluo withdrew the power of the 5 spiritual roots, the light on the crystal ball disappeared, and the lotus platform also disappeared. Master, is that golden lotus my lotus platform? Yan Xiangluo asked curiously. Master Qin he and Deng Chang's both looked at her, with shock, surprise, and worry in their eyes. Yes, that is your lotus platform. Last time I could only sense the aura of the lotus platform, and now it can show its shadow. It's just that your power is still not enough, so the lotus platform has not really appeared yet, but it has been more than 3 years. It's much better now, at least I can see it, Master Qin he said. Master, are the lotus platforms divided into levels? Yan Xiangluo did not ignore the shock of her master and master when her lotus platform appeared. Master Qin he let out a long sigh. Of course there are levels. The lotus platform is divided into levels based on color, using gold, silver, copper, and iron. Iron is the lowest grade. As long as the nascent soul is condensed, the lotus platform will be black at the end. The color of iron is copper, silver, and gold. Most people's lotus stands are iron-colored. Some people with good talents are copper-colored. No matter how talented they are, the lotus stands are silver. There are no exceptions for people with silver lotus stands. They will all become powerful people on the mainland. The golden lotus platform is the highest quality one, and there are no more than 10 people on the mainland. Yan Xiangluo opened her eyes wide, saying that her lotus platform was of the highest quality. Master Qin he continued, although the lotus platform is divided into gold, silver, copper, and iron grades, each grade is also divided into grades. Is there any classification of grades? Yan Xiangluo was curious this time as to what quality her lotus was among the golden lotus. Of course there are, divided into 3 grades, upper, middle and lower. Master Qi also has a golden lotus platform. Master Qin he pointed at Deng Chang's and said. Yan Xiangluo looked at her master in surprise. No wonder the master is so powerful. It turns out that the master is also a golden lotus platform. Deng Chang's laughed and said, although master's lotus platform is also golden, the grade is not as good as yours. Mine is only a low-grade golden lotus platform. Master is so powerful and he is just a low-grade golden lotus platform. Yan Xiangluo was really surprised this time. What about your own? Yes, there are 9 well-known people in the entire Tianqian continent who have golden lotus platforms. Only one of them has a middle-grade golden lotus platform, and the rest have a low-grade golden lotus platform. Deng Chang's continued to explain her confusion. Who is the middle-grade golden lotus platform? Yan Xiangluo asked curiously. Zhihong's appearance flashed through her mind. His talent was the best among the people she knew. Could it be him? Prince Baitangyunfen of the Hankai Empire, Deng Chang said. Is it him? Yan Xiangluo was a little surprised. She thought it was Zhihong. In her opinion, Zhihong's talent should be better than Baitangyunfen. After all, his body was affected by fetal poison and his cultivation level was still weak. So strong. This is only known. There are still some families in the mainland who will hide the true color and grade of talented children and will not tell outsiders, Deng Chang's added. Xianxia understood clearly that it is not easy for children with good talents to grow up. Hiding talents to avoid the edge is indeed a good way to protect children from growing up. What is the grade of my lotus platform? Xianxia asked anxiously. You can't see it now, but the lotus platform that you can't see through so much effort should be of a high grade, Masterkin, he said. Xianxia was very happy. Masterkin, he said that the lotus platform is actually the Taoist platform for monks. The better the grade of the lotus platform, the higher the talent, and the further you can go in practice. Speaking of which, she doesn't even know what kind of lotus platform her parents are. Since she is both a golden lotus platform, I'm afraid her parents should also be golden lotus platforms. After all, her father is only 34 years old this year, and her mother is only 32 years old. Both of them went to the higher continent. Having experienced another life, she knew very well that genetics were very important. She had a father and mother who were extremely talented, and their talents could not be any different. Xiao everyone in the world knows that you have a waste material body with 5 spiritual roots, and no one cares about the color of your lotus platform. You should know this yourself and don't tell anyone, Deng Chang's reminded his young apprentice. Xianxia nodded, Master, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Although no one can take away the lotus platform, some people cannot see others being better than themselves. Masterkin, he asked his disciple, when are you going to break through? Deng Chang said, get ready for a breakthrough today. He originally waited for the young apprentice to break through to the king level before breaking through and leaving. Now the young apprentice has already broken through to the king level, and is still at the 3rd level of the king level. He is aware of the normal promotion speed of his young apprentice. Although he is still a little worried about her safety, he also knows that his young apprentice has many ways to survive and will take good care of himself. Then he doesn't want to wait a day longer. After all, I have been waiting for several years. Masterkin, he also knew Yao Tu's wish and did not stop him. Where are you going to break through? Deng Chang's raised his eyes and looked at his master, who stood up, knelt down and bowed. Master, this disciple is going to break through the chasm, and leave immediately after breaking through. Those who want to ascend in Tianqian continent must go to Tianqian chasm. Just like its name, the Tianxia chasm is a chasm that only strong men at the clan level can cross. Under the chasm is a bottomless abyss. The opposite side is shrouded in mist, and nothing can be seen. It is about 30 meters wide, but it is these 30 meters, separated into 2 worlds. This side is the lower continent, and that side is the higher continent. End of this chapter. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 170. Chapter 170. Before leaving. Countless strong men who dreamed of going to the higher continents, but in the end were unable to break through the clan level, would choose to take risks in despair, but without exception they all fell into the abyss. Therefore, in the Tianxia continent, the Tianxia chasm has another name, the life-destroying abyss. Master Qinhe's eyes suddenly turned red. The separation was imminent. After this separation, master and disciple would never have the chance to see each other again in this life. Yao's disciples knew this very well, and this kneeling was also a sign of their master-disciple relationship. Master Qinhe stood up and helped Deng Chang's up, and said earnestly, "There are many powerful people in the higher continents. You must restrain your temper and never forget your original intention of going there. Disciple, please remember your master's teachings." Deng Chang's eyes also became wet. He has no family, and there are only 2 people who care about him when he leaves. One is his master who treats him like a father, and the other is his young apprentice who treats him like his own daughter. But the young apprentice's talent is even better than his, and they will meet again in the higher continent in the future. However, the master's life is running out, and his talent has come to an end, and there is almost no possibility of seeing him again in this life. Even if there is a magic elixir refined from the spiritual spring water, it is useless. The body's functions have reached the end, and the elixir cannot further improve the master's talent. Yan Xiangluo's eyes turned red as she watched from the side. Parting between life and death is always the most painful thing in the world. After the master leaves, Luo will come to visit the master, Yan Xiangluo said. Before she left Tianqian continent, she could fulfill her filial piety for her master. Of course, she also had her own filial piety. Deng Chang smiled and nodded. Well, your master loves your cooking the most. Luo will make a different one for Master, Yan Xiangluo promised. Master Qin, he looked pleased. Among so many disciples, these two were the only ones who were truly filial. Master, I'll send you there. Yan Xiangluo didn't want the parting mood to last too long, and the long-term pain was worse than the short-term pain. What's more, she has to bring some spiritual spring water to the master. If she goes with her, firstly, she can send the master away, and secondly, she can save a few more drops of spiritual spring water for the master to take away. Although the master's lotus platform is golden, it is only a low-grade golden one. With the spiritual spring water, the master may be able to upgrade the lotus platform to a middle-grade golden one. If one's talent goes up a level, the strength will be stronger. Master is in his 30s, but in higher continents, this age is equivalent to that of a child, and his talent can be improved through cultivation. Okay, Deng Chang's agreed without hesitation. He has long noticed that there are some people with strong cultivation at the foot of Xuanhuan sect mountain. He can't find anyone and can only detect the occasional aura. These auras are here to explore Qiandu Peak. There are only people from one place who are stronger than him in Tianqian continent. Last year, my disciple chose to leave the sect early because of these people in order not to injure the sect. Even if he didn't know who the other party was, he also knew that they were from there. If they really came for the young apprentice, the entire Xuanhuan sect's strong men would not be their opponent if they joined forces. Master, after Luo sent his master away, he went directly to practice. He will come back to visit his master when he has time. Yan Xiangluo also kowtowed to Master Qin He. Okay, although Master Qin He felt reluctant to give up, he also knew that he could not hinder young people from pursuing their dreams. After the master and apprentice left, they returned to Thousand Poison Peak. Looking at Qiandu Peak Palace, Deng Chang's felt a little reluctant. She thought that after she left, a young apprentice would guard the place, and she would recruit apprentices to develop Qiandu Peak in the future, but she did not expect that her young apprentice would leave so early. There are very few people who learn to make poison, especially in a large sect like theirs. After he and his young apprentice leave, this place will become lonely. Master, what should we do at Qiandu Peak? Yan Xiangluo asked. Deng Chang's turned to look at the handyman disciples who were still working in the poisonous weed field and said, Master gave each of the handyman disciples a magic pill, which can be regarded as a reward for their hard work in serving the medicinal fields over the past few years. As for the poisonous weeds, take Xiao Luo away and leave the rest to time. The magic pill refined by Deng Chang's does not contain spiritual spring water, but it will also improve the talents of some people whose talents are too low. It is suitable for these handyman disciples. The magic pill in his hand was specially refined for these 10 handyman disciples. I want to take away the practice hall that master built for me. Yan Xiangluo thought for a while and said. Her space is very empty, but there is no place to live. The training hall does not belong to the section. It was built for her by the master out of his own pocket. It is made from extremely rare weapon refining materials. She wanted to put it in space and treat it as her own place to live in space from now on. It was also the thought that master left for her. Before seeing master again, she could only see things and miss people. Deng Chang said in surprise, can your storage ring hold the training hall? She didn't tell anyone about Pangu space, and she didn't want to say it to her master, so she could only nod and said, yes, my father left me several gift rings, all of which are about the same size as the training hall, and one is bigger than the training hall. Deng Chang's marveled at Xianxia's generosity. She was really not an ordinary spoiled girl. She gave such expensive things as gift rings to several at once, and they all had a lot of space. I've never heard that Xianxia is a weapon refiner, and where did he get so many space stones? However, Deng Chang's didn't ask much. The young apprentice could take it away if he liked. It would be of no use leaving it here. It was a waste of so many good materials. Okay, master gave it to you, you can do whatever you want with it. Master built this for me, I want to keep it forever. Yan Xianglou curled her lips, she was reluctant to deal with it. Deng Chang's understood what his young apprentice was thinking and smiled. Okay, master, go and send away the handyman disciples first, and then go to Xianyun Peak and tell your sect master, brother, that master has brought everything he wanted to take with him, and Xiao Luoer wants to take away everything. Go and take them all with you. When we come back, we will go to Tianchafangu. Okay. After Yan Xianglou responded, she entered the palace at Qiandu Peak. The master had taken everything he wanted to take with him, and she went to see if there was anything else she needed to take away. All the decorations in the palace have not changed. Master's room has been cleaned up. None of master's belongings are gone. Originally, they all like to put their belongings in storage rings, so there are not many personal belongings in the room. After walking around, there were only some books in the library. These books were all about poisonous weeds and poisoning. Others were not interested in them. She even put them away on the bookshelf. They might be useful in the future. There is no need to go to her room. She took all her personal belongings with her when she left. She will not take anything prepared by the sect. She turned to look at the kitchen. This was also built for her by the master. After their master and apprentice left, no one lived here. The kitchen was useless if it was left here, and the kitchen utensils in it were all brought from home. End of this chapter.